Hello, this is Transcend Media Service. My name is Caroline Hargreaves, and today we have the pleasure of being joined by Professor Hossein Danesh. Dr. Danesh is the founder and president of the International Education for Peace Institute, which is in Switzerland and Canada. He's also a retired professor within the fields of conflict resolution and peace studies and psychiatry. Welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You are here at the European Peace University to speak about Education for Peace, which is a community development program designed to establish an all-inclusive environment for peace. Can you please give us a short introduction to the history of Education for Peace?
Sure. The Education for Peace program started in year 2000. So now we are in the 10th year of implementation of this program. And the idea that started the program was an observation on our part that our children in this world and our youth are being educated according to the principles of conflict. From the very early days of life, our children, in their homes, they observe their parents having conflict, which usually they don't know how to handle. They go to school and the kindergarten, and they experience conflict between themselves and other kids, among adults, around them all over. They watch television, is conflict. They play games on television, on computer, and there's conflict. Doesn't matter where they look, they see conflict. So they grow up to be comfortable with conflict. And not only in their experiences, they focus on conflict. In what they study also focuses on conflict. History books all are about conflict. Biology is taught within the principles and framework of survival of the fittest. Economics is about the same dynamics at the social level. Doesn't matter what we look at and study is either about conflict or is used for conflict, like physics or chemistry. So gradually we grow up thinking that conflict is the norm, is an inevitable fact of life, and we have to live with it. Mm-hmm. And this has caused, of course, enormous problem for humanity throughout history. It is a fact that human history is marked by a lot of conflict and violence. But that doesn't mean necessarily that conflict is a part of human nature. We, those of us who developed the concept of education for peace, actually believe that the primary law of life and of existence is unity. And conflict is absence of unity. And the reason that conflict has been so dominant in the world, and still is so dominant, is because at the earlier stages of development of both the individual and the society, conflict is abundant. Children are highly conflicted. Sibling rivalry is a part of life. Adolescents are highly conflicted. Only conflict decreases as we begin to mature as individuals and as societies of humanity. And if we think about history of humanity, and we think about psychosocial dynamics that are prevalent in our world today, we see that really the majority of societies of the world, practically all of them, are either in functioning in stages and behavior that are conducive to earlier levels of development, or at most at the adolescent level. The norms of our time, the values of our time, the way that we think, the way we choose our leaders in society, the adversarial modes that we have, the communist approach to economy, capitalist approach to economy. If you look at all of them, you will see they are based on conflict. These are elements and aspects of a society in adolescent phase. So we say, therefore, that human societies now are evolving and approaching a very fundamental transition. This transition is most monumental, is a transition from our collective childhood and adolescence to adulthood and beginning of the era of maturity of humanity. Peace is the characteristic of age of maturation. Adolescence and childhood are conflict. So on the basis of this notion, we developed a comprehensive, all-inclusive program of education for peace. And we called it Education for Peace rather than Peace Education, because we wanted to convey the notice and the idea that the purpose of education for peace is for the individual himself or herself to be transformed and become peaceful. And for the environment where it is taught, dynamics be evolved that are conducive to creation of a culture of peace. And therefore, the Education for Peace program requires a transformation on the part of the individual and the school and the student and everybody to together to create a culture of peace and relate together in a culture of peace, and having also a certain degree of inner peace on the part of individuals. So it's a major challenge. So we were invited 10 years ago by the government of Bosnia and Herzegovina to implement the Education for Peace in 6 schools as a pilot project for 2 years. We chose 3 primary, 3 secondary schools in 3 different cities, reflecting the 3 warring ethnic populations of that country. It was just after the war, a few years after the war, so it was a very good opportunity to see whether Education for Peace would work in that environment. It was a large pilot project. It had 6,000 students, 400 teachers, thousands of parents. And the program started, and after 6 months it was evident by the testimony of all participants that it is working. So we received an invitation from the government, said, and international community, would you go to more schools? So we arranged to develop the necessary programs to go to another 106 schools. So altogether 112 schools became involved for another 4-year period. And this meant that 80,000 students were involved, 5,000 teachers, and the school staff were involved. And when I say teachers and school staff, it's because our philosophy is that when we go to school, everybody would be involved in study of every subject within the framework of peace.